welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker Podcast, bringing you fun and soulful interviews with spiritual teachers with the aim of tuning you in and lighting you up. You can access all episodes of the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos and interviews all about spirituality and wellness. My name is George Lizos. I'm a spiritual teacher, intuitive, the co-creator of Elemental Healing, the author of Be the Guru, and the #1 best-selling Lightworkers Gotta Work. And today I'm thrilled to have with me Sophie Bashford. Sophie Bashford is a leading intuitive channel and writer for the re-emergence of the divine feminine. Her best-selling first book, You Are a Goddess, Working with the Sacred Feminine to Awaken, Heal, and Transform, is a culmination of many years' experience of self-healing and reconnecting to the goddess within. Valued as a gifted teacher and speaker, Sophie has a long-standing international private client base, attracts people from all over the world to her healing tent retreats, and has led sell-out workshops for Alternatives and Mind Body Spirit Festival in London. She has also presented for the renowned Hay House UK events I Can Do It and Ignite. Sophie, welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker Podcast.
It's wonderful to be speaking with you today, George.
I am so excited to chat all about your book, You Are a Goddess, because the listeners know that I love connecting with the goddesses, specifically Aphrodite. I was born in the island where, according to the myth, Aphrodite was born, and all that the divine feminine signifies. But before we dive into what the book is about and how we can start connecting with the goddesses, tell us a little bit about your story of awakening to the divine feminine and what called you to want to do this work.
Yes, I'm always very, take a breath before I start answering that question, actually, because we could be here for a long time and I want to keep it succinct. I didn't really realize I was answering a calling to the divine feminine, to be honest. All I knew, George, really was that my life was really not turning out the way that I thought my life would turn out at all. So I would actually say the goddess really found me through a sense of breakdown or a sense of kind of imploding life events and internal events as well, you know. I guess my first entrance into connecting with the feminine energy in a profound way was through emotional healing. I had, quite significant childhood trauma in that I lost my mother when I was 4.5 and very suddenly, and no one ever talked to me about that because it's still quite taboo actually, even in our culture now. But back then in the 70s, it was very, very difficult to talk about anything like that. So I carried a lot of grief, a lot of pain with me but very suppressed. And I lived in what we would call, I suppose, our lower masculine energy. I lived in my head, I lived in my intellect. I became very practiced at using my masculine energy, which I think a lot of people are actually. And I was raised very lovingly, but mainly by men and boys and, grandfather, father, brothers. And it took really, and when I got pregnant with my first daughter, after having dropped out of university, which was a shock horror to everybody, my life was falling apart and I became pregnant with my first daughter, which was a wonderful thing, but it faced me, it confronted me with all of that energy that I had suppressed. And that might not sound like it's related to the goddess consciousness, but boy, goddess, it really is, because it was my emotions that I was holding back, I can't really tell you how much grief and pain and suppressed energy there is from a little girl who's lost her mother at 4 and never, ever, ever spoken about it. And that was the beginning of me uprooting. Actually, it was, of course, this lifetime, and emotional healing is crucial within the goddess path, absolutely crucial. And it's crucial to also focus on this life, not only past lives or what we might call, spiritual journey. But it did take me back into past life pain as well, of that energy having been suppressed. And that's something I very much talk about in the book, and give people tools, and show how the goddesses are helping us to heal that past life trauma. So within my own life, there were a series of catalytic triggering events that I did not attribute to being connected to the goddess, because I was raised without any connection to the divine whatsoever. But through those experiences and those kind of breakdowns, breaking open, I, over a number of years, George, and I do want to make it clear, a number of years, this did not happen within 6 months, you know, I was gradually opened up through my emotional healing, bringing down those walls, releasing years and years, and I would say lifetimes of kind of calcified emotional stuff. The defenses that I built up to deal with the patriarchy, to deal with the world in which we are raised, you know. Also, I'd wanted to avoid being kind of messy, if you like, and I've always wanted to be looked at as perfect, or kind of, you know, doing very well at everything and holding everything together, which I was very good at. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this story, even though we all have different experiences of bringing that story, right? But it's a template, isn't it, that we're shown. And so my template was being ripped up at the seams, and I was being shown another template that actually I've discovered lived very deep within me. And it goes, you know, being on this, being an intuitive, opening up to connecting with the divine feminine, with goddesses, with angels, with other guides, opening up to being a light worker as well. Of course, I want to mention that for you, but it's true. I feel that deeply in myself, that it's not easy, you know, because it's a path of work and inner work. And it's not just like I woke up one day and went, hey, I think it would be really cool if I was tuned into the goddess, you know. It was actually the last thing I wanted to do a lot of the time, because it was really, really confrontational. And I had to face a lot of, be very vulnerable and raw. And I was terrified in therapy, you know, I was terrified to open up to my emotions. So that's how my call into the goddess began, George. And it was over many, many different triggers, many different layers. And then I suppose over many years of this opening, I began to be drawn to using spiritual tools such as the tarot, particularly tarot cards really opened me up. Interestingly, a beautiful link for me personally is that I knew that my mother used tarot, and she was gifted with a tarot and astrology. But I hardly know anything about my mum, because she's not really talked about. So it was something she couldn't really bring this energy through. And I feel like I've had the kind of task of bringing this energy through for her as well. So it's interesting that tarot was one of the real kind of opening for my intuitive gift, definitely. And then it kind of just really developed from there. And I developed a strong connection to be able to connect with divine feminine figures, and also other members of, you know, spiritual guides as well. But this became a primary kind of focus of what spirit wanted to bring through me. And it's not something I've never found it easy, to be honest. It's not something I've always relished, actually, because it's actually many times been such a challenge to actually have the confidence and the courage to open my voice and use my voice and speak these words and use this energy. I've often wanted to, you know, I've been confronted with, I feel, my past life trauma many, many, many times over, and that does still rise in me now, of the fear of what will happen if I bring this energy out. But I've learned to work with it, and I've been healed by the contact and the energy of the goddesses without a shadow of a doubt.
Sophie, your story is very relatable, because like the divine, not the divine masculine, the suppressed masculine, the abused masculine, patriarchy is so embedded into culture, into the way we're brought up. So from a very young age, we're taught to suppress our emotions, to just be very masculine in our approach and follow the rules and be structured in that way. And the divine feminine is very unstructured and fluid and all that, and emotional. Basically. So I think many people will relate to your story in one way or the other, in how we suppress our feminine energy, and that keeps building up and building up until eventually something calls it out, and then we have to do the inner healing, which is what your book is all about. So can you talk to us a little bit about what your purpose was with writing You Are a Goddess? What is the purpose of the book and what people can get out of it?
I feel one of my main aims with the book was to show that this consciousness isn't just bound up with arcane language and sort of spiritual, even new age language. I wanted to show that it had to just come from my experience. I'm not saying, nothing I say in the book is something that I've kind of just dreamed up. It is something that has been shown to me, you know, retaught to me, and it's been shown to me through my own experience and the experience of people that I've worked with, my clients, my retreat members, my circle members. It's been reflected back that actually everything that the goddess is showing us, and the different vibrations that come through, the different archetypes, they are all wanting to support us and heal us within the experiences of our lives, you know, our everyday lives, the overarching themes of our lives. It's not something that's distant from us. It's not something that's just, you know, that's something that's kind of up in the ethers. It is something that really is grounded in our actual experiences as women and men and, you know, beings. I do directly speak to women in the book, but I know there are many men that have resonated with it as well. And I do mention men in it, you know, a fair amount. And I wanted to show people that these goddesses are here now. They're coming forward. They're becoming closer, in closer contact with us on the earth for a reason. And that reason is that they can help, you know, heal things that you may feel are unhealable, you know, really, really awaken your deepest sort of dormant feminine energy that you may have forgotten how to work with. But you have all those keys within you, but you've just may have forgotten how to turn them. You've forgotten that they're there. You've been talked out of listening to this energy, to this wisdom within you. And you know, the goddesses all do preside over, I call them temples, but you can call them kind of just areas of inner work or areas of life or experience or healing. They are temples, really. That's how they show them to me. But within those temples, you enter into a space where you're working with certain themes. You're working with certain patterns. You're working with certain you know, archetypal energies. And that has a direct impact on your life. We're not just kind of plucking things from the air that are just really, you know, out there. They are things that I feel, well, I can relate to them because they've happened, you know, it's literally happened through me and to me. So most women I work with, this is a direct reflection of what I've been given to work with people on the ground, on the earth, not somewhere up in the ethers. You know, it's something that has a direct impact. And it's a resource. They are a resource for us, and they can work miracles. They can work enormous, you know, transformations in your energy field. But everything that happens in your energy field is going to be something that you then work with consciously. So you're becoming conscious. It's not something that you just sort of pray for and suddenly your life is kind of a magic wand is spread over your life. That's not how it works. They can bring magic into your life, of course, and miracles and unexpected gifts, but they will always want to work with you. They're inviting you to be an active participant in your own healing, your own growth, your own awakening, and they want you to become empowered. They want you to empower yourself because they want you to heal, you know, because the world needs you to be this torchlight, not to be left in the shadows, not to be left hiding, because so many of us, I'm sure you can relate to this, George, too, so many of us, even as light workers, but we're so connected to the feminine anyway, have been in a place of hiding. You know, we've been in a place of feeling that it's dangerous or even threatening to the status quo for our energy to be seen. And that does link back into perhaps our past life experiences of having been persecuted, hurt for being who we are, and told that we're not welcome, and told that bad things are going to happen to us if we are outspoken, or if we are free, right? If we are light, if we are spreading our wings. And there's a lot of fear embedded in that if it's not brought to the light. So there's a lot in the book, there's a lot there to work with, you know. But the goddesses, I feel as well, George, they break it down into manageable chunks. It's not just this overwhelming kind of world of, oh my God, I just feel so blocked, I feel so stuck, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know where I am, I'm lost, I'm in pain, I'm wounded, I'm whatever we're feeling in that moment, you know. There are clear directives, there are clear stepping stones, they will lead you, and you actually don't have to be in control. You can relinquish control and let the goddess come to you and show you what's the first step for me. And that's quite often, it does follow a fairly sort of ordered sort of journey or pattern, but it also is very unique to everyone. So you might find that, you know, your journey is, your awakening, your healing is different to the person next to you, but there will also be similarities because we're all really going through similar healing journeys as well.
So yeah, what I love about the book is that it's so practical. Like you have all these 10 different goddess archetypes, and then you enter their temple, as you call it, like this vibrational space of it, and they guide you to work through different practical aspects that are going on in your life, and therefore start healing as you go through the book. So it's like a goddess therapy sessions going on as you move through each chapter. So you mentioned 10 different goddess archetypes.
Nine, George, actually.
Oh, 9 of them. Okay.
9, yeah, it's 9.
Could we name drop a few of the 9 ones? And also, just so people can get an idea, and also talk to us about 1 or 2 of them and what people, for example, just give an example of what people can get out of it.
Okay, so I don't know. The first goddess that comes to me is pretty much always Kali, actually. Kali, goddess of transformation, goddess of chaos, goddess of the unknown. Pretty kind of like, scary stuff for a lot of people. That's not where I want to be, you know, it's not where I want to be. But she comes in first, and she comes in first. She's the first goddess you meet on your journey, because she nearly always is how the goddess speaks to you to begin with. It nearly, in my experience, in the thousands of people I've spoken to in intuitive consultations and on retreats over the years, you know, it's Kali energy that comes in to shake us awake, okay, to kind of bring us quite often a bit of a life shock, or a turning upside down of our sort of predictable circumstances, or perhaps our very, very kind of safe and secure lives. When I say safe and secure, I mean, you know, maybe overly comfortable, entrenched lives. And so she can rip the carpet from under our feet, and she often does, and it can leave us feeling disarmed, it can leave us feeling pretty scared, it can leave us feeling like we don't know what the hell is going on in our lives, it's just falling apart perhaps. And we may see that on the outside, but we may also start feel it on the inside as well, like something is just imploding within us. For me, you know, it was definitely kind of, I couldn't hold those emotions in anymore. It was just breaking down inside of me. And anyone that's experienced any kind of internal breakdown, you know, just knows how that feels. You know, something is going on, right? You can't avoid it anymore. So that's Kali energy. And when I say she's the only goddess in the book actually that doesn't have a meditation, a specific guided meditation. All the other goddesses have a meditation that you can, or a couple actually in some of the chapters, that you can listen to or read. But Kali doesn't, because she just inhabits this void. You know, she is the void. She didn't give me a meditation, to be quite honest with you, George. She was like, no. Kali is just to be experienced, but she's not to be feared, because as much as she tears up your world,
it's for a good purpose.
She is unfailingly with you, you know, unfailingly with you. You have to learn on this journey that your ego and you is not in control. And that's for the light to enter. That's for your light to actually start remembering what it is, and that the unknown is safe, you know, to remember that the unknown is safe, and that your intuition, you know, that light bulb will start to switch on again. And you don't have to only listen to your head, and you can break down structures that have actually been strangling you, but you might not have realized it. And this is the beginning of you breaking free, you know. And yet she does shake you like an earthquake, you know. She is a no holds barred goddess of transformation. And believe me, by the time she's finished with you, and that could take years, you know, because she certainly was in my life for years, you know, don't be daunted by this, because what I feel is, if you have a very intense Kali experience, as I call it, it's like a spiritual storm. Almost the stronger your Kali experience, this is my perception, the stronger your Kali experience, the stronger you are shaken, the deeper your purpose to humanity is, the more vital your purpose is. So if you feel, oh my God, this is unbearable, everything is being stripped away from me, I don't know what's happening, I'm having to really, really just strip down to the bare bones of who I am, you know, confront who I am, maybe build something up from the ground up again. She quite often takes it a lot away from you so that you can build it up again, almost like a tree being stripped bare and then kind of coming back with a new energy. Okay, so those experiences, yes, I know they are very, very uncomfortable, but we have to go through that discomfort often, you know, in order to find out how strong we are, who we are.
Because that's part of life. I mean, it sounds like everybody needs a Kali experience or a Kali energy, because uncertainty is the only constant in life. And the quality of our lives depends on the quality of our relationship with that uncertainty. So the more we embrace, I guess, that Kali energy, the more we can navigate through it more effortlessly.
Yes.
What's another goddess that it would be essential for our listeners to connect with?
Well, another goddess that comes to me, actually, in great contrast to Kali, very great contrast, probably a relief, but I feel that everyone who is opening up to reconnecting with their feminine energy must connect with Kuan Yin, the Bodhisattva of compassion.
Very different energy, very peaceful,
different. Just a bit of contrast there.
I love it.
Gentleness, super gentleness, learning how to nourish again, learning how to nurture again. Of course, self-love is a very popular phrase now, but Kuan Yin, you know, she is the queen, you know, she is the bodhisattva of compassion, you know, self-compassion, learning how to tend to the feminine energy, because we are used to being given messages that keep us out of touch with that feminine energy, out of touch with the messages of our bodies, right? Kuan Yin presides over the body's wisdom, and what the body needs for nourishment. She's also concerned with nutrients and nourishment, and of course that is on the level of food, of course, what you're taking into your body, you know, that on that level. She can also help heal actually sort of negative body image as well, and that whole area. And I believe that the sort of resurgence that we're experiencing at the moment of many figures, many women coming forward and really countering negative body image, I believe they are guided by Kuan Yin. That's my personal belief. They may not realize that, but that's what I feel. Thankfully, we have a huge wave of that now coming forward. So she helps us nourish ourselves at the deepest level. And it's a gentle blessing when Kuan Yin comes to you, but it's also pretty powerful because she's got a really powerful mission. You know, if you think about how many women and many men, but many women, you know, have had a sort of experience of self-hatred with their bodies, or abuse with food, abuse with you know, not knowing how to take care of themselves, not knowing how to nourish themselves, not knowing how to fill their own cup. You know, fill your own cup, because until we really learn how to listen and tune into our feminine energy, we can be running on a very depleted energy system, because the patriarchy, you know, the lower masculine consciousness doesn't tell us that this is important. It doesn't value that replenishment. And, you know, so this is a very, very important goddess. I mean, she is ubiquitous, really. I mean, she will always come to you, because learning how to take care of yourself, how to fill your own cup, how to, you know, tune in to where your energy balancer is, where your energy scales are, giving and receiving. But can you receive? Because receiving is a feminine principle, and so many women struggle with receiving. They feel guilty, they feel they're not worthy, they feel they can't, you know, they have to immediately give something back if they receive something. You know, receiving is a feminine principle. And it's something I definitely need to continue practicing all the time, you know. And this is a practice. It's not something that you just read one day, or, you know, take in one day and you suddenly kind of, it's not we're not talking about tick boxes here. That's
masculine. That is masculine.
So masculine.
And I like the two examples of goddesses you introduced here, because they show the range that the divine feminine work can bring into our lives. It's not just receiving, nurturing yourself. There's work there. There is emotional upheavals that come up that we have to deal with, and transformation is the word that comes to mind that can take place as a result. Wow, and there's 7 more goddesses and people can connect with. Sophie, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. I want you to let us know where can people can go get and buy your book, and also how they can connect with you if they want to work in your workshops or take part of your services.
Sure. So you can get the book obviously on Amazon.
Yes.
And the audiobook is available via Audible as well. And many people really love the audiobook because it's me speaking, and there are lots of meditations in there as well to listen to.
So yes, easier.
But also I must say, Waterstones in the UK, Barnes and Noble in the US, Booktopia, it's Australia, I believe.
Yes.
Books A Million, all good book retailers. Amazon, so I need to say that as well. So yeah, my website, I've just got a new website actually, which is really exciting for me, and so it's sophiebashford.com. And you can sign up to some wait lists. I've got a new membership site coming very soon.
Exciting.
Yeah, called the Moon Temple, and that's going to be launching really soon. So there's a wait list you can sign up to for that. And also my new retreats and trainings are going to be announced very soon. So there's a separate wait list for that too. So do sign up.
So exciting. Sophie, thank you so much for sharing the divine feminine and the goddesses with us. And I'm so excited for everybody to go ahead and read, not just read, but practice. You are a goddess. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thanks so much. It's such a pleasure to speak with you, George.